What's up, my fellow flyers? We're back at it again. We want to make sure we can, accommodate the intro. We want to accommodate everything here. This is FPV RAW, and I'll be your host here, Ruben Hadegi. I'm a renowned backdoor pilot. I'm a kind of in the free flyer range. I'm kind of the guy that kind of sits in the dark, picking his nose and farting and eating worms and shit. I'm here. We're back at it. I just want to make sure you guys are with me here, and you guys don't fall asleep. See, what happens is I'm trying to make sure I hit the main stuff here on my list of the FPV RAW podcast, and I want to make sure I go through the intro and the history and the getting started, the parts. I want to make sure you guys are aware of the parts that are out there. And now for this one, I think we're gonna go to the FPV Gear, and this is more gonna be towards the new flyer, and for people who don't know. And granted, because I have a pretty good I'm in communications with a lot of guys who are new, and I feel like I can help them out in another way. And without me messaging them back and forth, at least they can listen to this and drive and kind of understand where I'm coming from. And if I do knock on some stuff and touch on some subjects that are kind of iffy, don't worry. It's just my personal take. It's just regular old me talking to myself here in the garage. But I want to help you out. And I want to give you my knowledge, because as I was learning, I acquired this knowledge because I'm a consumer. I'm a manufacturer, and I'm a builder, I'm a flyer. But I'm also a consumer too. Like, I like looking at stuff, and when I see the new best FPV gear that's out there, the latest and greatest shit that's out there, I want to make sure I know what to expect. Usually, when I follow a company and I see a lot of hype, a lot of hype and a lot of bullshit, that they're trying to kick towards us, I can smell that. I can smell it a mile away, and I want to make sure it works. So I'm pretty hesitant to new gear that comes out, and I want to make sure you guys are aware of that. But at the same time, give out some knowledge and give a couple shout outs to the companies who are making progress and who notice that there are the clones that are out there. But for the clones and for the new flyers, I think you guys are going to be hand in hand just nicely, because you guys are learning. And I'm totally for, learning on the cheap and just making sure you guys are enjoying your adventure into FPV. And then when you get better, you move on to like the nicer gear. And the nicer gear that's out there, that's when we're going to talk about name brand stuff. And, a reasonable name brand. Not the... Like, you can get transmitters that are, $30, but you don't want to spend crazy amounts of money for the same transmitter. And you're like, wait a minute, what am I actually paying for? It's all made in the same country, not in the US, which is kind of a shame. But, just stuff that I want to make sure you guys are aware of. And, name brand is nice, but when you're starting out, you don't need name brand. It's going to be with you. You're going to outgrow it. You're going to end up frying it. You're going to end up forgetting to plug in your antenna. So stuff like that. I want to talk about, the FPV gear that you might be exploring in your adventure in learning. All right. So there was a quick little segment there where I had to say goodnight to the kids. It's bedtime. So they're going to bed, and I can continue on. Okay. So back where I was trying to get to, I wanted to talk about the FPV gear, and for you new flyers who are out there who just are trying to learn where everything is at and kind of explore. I don't want you guys to go, to get discouraged quickly off the bat. That's one thing I really don't want that to happen, because the more people we have out there flying and enjoying the hobby, the bigger the community is going to get. And I'm not here to promote myself as a manufacturer. I'm here to kind of just give you my knowledge. And hopefully that knowledge helps somebody out there. Like I said in my other podcast before, which I hope you listen to and just kind of understand where I'm coming from. And I hope that, if you do listen and you do subscribe to me, I'm hoping that the podcast get better. So, let's go ahead and wrap up the kind of like the intro. It's a long ass intro. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I just like to talk, but I feel like if I talk, I kind of give you a better understanding of where I'm coming from, and kind of wrap up the intro and kind of give you a rough summary about what I want to talk about in the podcast. So, if it's too long, hey, my bad. I do apologize. I do want to make this entertaining for you, but hey, I'll do my best if I can kind of give you the pointers and where to get parts to kind of get you started. So for you new flyers, sit back. I'm gonna do my best. To kind of give you the information there, and I'm hoping that somebody out there can kind of gain. A little bit of knowledge. I'm going to kick that knowledge to you, and I hope you understand it, as best as you can. So here we go. FPV Gear. And starting out, a lot of guys ask, they go, what FPV gear should I get? And I usually try to base it upon, where they're flying and how far they're flying. If it's like a park, if it's a field, it helps me understand where the range, the milliwatts, and transmitters are based off of milliwatts. So if you're by yourself, then you can go with like a 600 milliwatt or maybe like a 200 milliwatt system. But personally, I would go 600 just because it's fun. You have distance in case you do get lost, disoriented. You do have that space bubble, and that space bubble is your aircraft. Think of it as, there's 25, there's 100, there's 200, there's 400, 500, 600, and it goes up in milliwatts, depending on your manufacturer. Okay. So picture your aircraft and you're looking for transmitters. Your aircraft, when you put a transmitter on there, you're looking at a bubble. Now, blow a bubble, not a fart bubble, not a spit bubble, but just to blow a bubble in your mind, just a little bubble. And picture your aircraft on the inside of that. And the smaller the bubble is the smaller your milliwatt output of your transmitter is. So the bigger the bubble you have, so like if it's we'll go to a 600 one that I usually like. It's a big bubble around your aircraft. And your ground station or your receiver for the FPV gear that you have, you try to buy a matching set, if it's, circular or linear, that type of stuff. You want to make sure you're matching the same antennas. Rubber duckies are fine. Those are just the regular black, linear antennas. They're totally fine. A lot of the hype back in the day was circular polarized because, there was acrobatic stuff, but, you're going to be fine with any antenna that's out there, out to date right now. You're going to be totally fine. So pick up your antennas. If you want to upgrade, get some regular circular polarized antennas out there. Even cheap knockoff ones. If you're starting out, it's going to be fine. Okay. Let's go back to the aircraft bubble. Okay. So your bubble is surrounding your aircraft, and that's going to depend on your milliwatt. Now, the smaller bubble you have is, 25 milliwatt, 100 milliwatt. And that's the bubble you're trying to hit as you're flying out in the field. Now, we're going to use an open field or in nice open space, and your transmitter is trying to capture that bubble out there. Now, think of like a donut, right? A donut's it's a pretty good example because there's some hollow. Think of the middle as as an empty space because you got your antenna, your antenna coax cable. And if you don't know what a coax cable, it's the the base of the antenna, and then you have the top part, and there's a center part in the very middle, the very top, and that's there's kind of a dead zone on the rubber duckies, but you want to make sure you're both your receiver and your transmitter are in that area. Like they're always close by where they can always register and see the feed from the aircraft going into your RX, so it can distribute the video into your goggles or wherever. And that's kind of the safety net. And getting started in the FPV, the thing you want to remember is your location. Remember the landmarks. If there's a parking area, if there's a road, remember where some of the landmarks are. If there's a tree, a dark spot on the ground, anything to identify your home location. And just for starting out, stay around in that location until you get comfortable. And then you can increase your distance and get more familiar. And that's just basically growing as an operator, as a pilot. And when you get better as a flyer, you can start to adapt these things when you get better and better. So you start to look for landmarks. Okay. When you pull up to location, there's a hill, there's a tower, there's a big old dead tree, and those are things you recognize. So, when you go to these new locations, you're like, okay, I have a transmitter that's, is pumping out this many milliwatts. I can go this far because I've tested at my field, and that you can go X amount of, meters or feet or whatever far. And that's kind of like your safe zone. It's your safe word. And then, if you go too far out, you're going to start to see, a little bit of deterioration in the video feed. And that's your kind of hint to kind of pull back. You don't want to go too far out there. You want to, just stay safe, right? The whole key is to stay safe. And that's pretty much your bread and butter, your video and your video transmitter and your RX. So that's your bread and butter on any craft. If you have a good stable craft, you want to make sure you get a pretty good, a decent FPV system. And, any system that you're going to get when you're looking at, say Amazon, Banggood, Get FPV, Ready Made RC, all the main ones, Hobby King, and all the other, if I didn't say your company, my bad, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of companies out there. When you search for parts, you're going to find them out there. And for me, like if I want something fast, I know that, for me, I try to look for the transmitters that have an LCD screen on them that I can easily, identify the channel name that I'm on, and I can write it down so I know what channel to look for. And it's usually, it's a 2-button switch or a 2-button transmitter, and it has a little LCD screen, and they're fairly small. And the new ones I got from Amazon, they're even smaller. So just 5.8 transmitter, you'll find it. It's fairly easy. If you're starting out, they're out there, good price. It's not going to kill your wallet. And if you do decide to fry it when you're connecting it, you're not going to injure anything, right? It's like, okay, it wasn't that big of a deal. Especially buying a name brand equipment, you're going to be like, okay, not that big a deal. I can go buy another one. But just putting that out there. So I'm not hating on any of the main manufacturers, but hey, that's the fucking real thing, right? You don't want to lose all your money, because then you're going to get discouraged, and then you're not going to want to fly. So just saying. Anyways, so, find Amazon, find a decent transmitter that might work for you, and you're going to look for your location. You're going to figure out, okay, this one might work. And depending on, what transmitter you like, that's what you're going to decide on. Now, if you're going to look for, you want to look for a decent combo, which they're out there. They're actually fairly good, fairly decent prices. And then you want to look for, your cameras, and your cameras are, for the most part, are pretty good out there right now. They're really good, cameras that are out there. My favorite is the Eagle, or not the Eagle, RunCam Eagle, or the RunCam Sparrow cameras that are very nice. If you can find something cheaper, if you're on a tight budget, just go ahead and get any camera that's out there that's within your budget. Because I don't know what your budget is, but just kind of get one to kind of just understand how everything works, and then you're going to get familiar, and then you can grow from there. Now, the reason why I say Amazon, because they have like next day shipping if you're like an Amazon Prime member, which is pretty kick-ass. So big ups to Amazon. You guys are freaking awesome. And hopefully I can sell some shit through you someday. I doubt it though, but, look at that. That's the things that I look at that other people should look at, especially starting out. And, cameras, and that's pretty much the main things you want to focus on for starting out. Antennas, they come with antennas already, but if you want to upgrade, just look on there. You'll find some new antennas and you could throw them on. It's going to increase a little bit of range. It's going to give you a little bit more flexibility if you do decide to go aerobatic and all that shit and impress your girlfriend or whatever, or your girlfriend's mom. You know what I mean? Just if you want to get crazy, you can do that. But a lot of stuff was out there, so I do suggest you go ahead and check them out. Check out YouTube. If you look on how to start FPV and get things going, you can find a lot of helpful information on YouTube. That's where I learned a lot of information. Like no bullshitting. I found a huge plethora. Is plethora? Plethora is a word. I think it's a word. That sounds pretty kick-ass. I like it. A plethora of information on the YouTube channel. Just search FPV Gear, how to setting up. You're going to find it. And, start there. Definitely start there. I suggest, do your research first and then, check out Amazon. I mean, if you're depending on what your location is, because I don't know who's going to hear this, and get started that way. So I would suggest doing that. There's pretty much really, like, for me, my systems, that's all I really use. Like, I use just a cheap transmitter. Even now, even now, I just use a cheap ass transmitter. Sounds pretty retarded. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, cause I've been in this game for a while. I know what the fuck's up, and I still choose the cheap transmitters. And, I'll fire them up here in my shop and make sure they work. I'll let them sit, and I'll kind of like make sure, they're not going to overheat on me. Oh, overheating. That's a whole, okay. Overheating. Just be careful. If you're going to plug it in, test it, make sure your antenna's on first and let it sit. And if it's sitting for a little bit and it gets really, really hot, just double check that. That's your ground check. And it's probably something I probably should have mentioned before, but you want to make sure you have it's not too hot. I will say this, and no disrespect to Get FPV, and it's just something that probably passed, quality control from the manufacturer. But I have their what is it? It's a Get FPV, the 600 mini transmitters. I think I bought like 3 or 4 of them. And I'm just keeping them. I'm not, gonna return them or nothing. I'm just bought them and then never mind. But I noticed on these guys that they get to about 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that's pretty damn hot. Like I can put my finger to it and it's like hot. So, after a while of me doing a ground check, making sure the camera is in focus, because I set the lens. I put a bigger lens in there. I used the 2.1 lens, fisheyes. And I touched the transmitter. It was hot, like really, really, really hot. And I was going to go to an event. This is a side story, so I hope you enjoy. I was going to go to an event in Canada. And it was Canada, and then the following week was New York for Drone Nationals. Well, Canada is the NAFPV that the Canadians were doing, which was a fun event. And then the Drone Nationals was put on by the DSA, was in New York City on Governor's Island, showed on ESPN. I raced there. I didn't race the last race because I had to catch an airplane, but I as you can see, I can easily ramble off and get sidetracked. But the thing is, as I tested the system here in my shop, and I made sure that it worked, I noticed that it was overheating, and then immediately freaked me out. Like, I was like, oh crap, I got a deadline. These need to be ready to rock and roll. I can't have these overheating in New York and Canada because it was humid. This was like the summer, towards the end of the summer. It was hot. Okay, it was hot and humid. So I'm thinking, okay, I can't have any defects and have a problem out there because they're going to get too hot. But in New York, what sucked was they wanted us to use another manufacturer's transmitter, which was the Immersion RC Triumph, or the Tramp. Tramp? Yeah, it's called the Tramp. It was all right. It was all right. But the thing is, for me, I want to be able to access my transmitter fast. I don't want to dick around with holding a button, double pressing a button, having a one button system. I don't want to dick around with that. I want an LCD screen, two little ass buttons, and I want to be able to see what the fuck I'm doing on my transmitter before I'm going to go up. But, for you new guys, those are the things that I like to look for, and those are the things I do look for when I'm testing them on the ground. Like, I want to make sure it's not going to overheat. I want to make sure that I can easily identify which channel I'm on with easily access the buttons. And if I need to change the power output, maybe they'll implement a button there. That way I can kind of, adjust it there depending on what race, because there are limitations. But for you new guys, again, sorry, sidetracked so very easily that time. But, just those are the things that you got to look at before you hit the skies. And especially overheating, it's when you're flying and it overheats, it blacks out the screen. Like, you ain't gonna see nothing. You're done. You're donezo. Game over, man. Game over. So those are the things that I'm hoping you guys can kind of acquire some kind of little bit of knowledge. Of me rambling off. But it's easy for me to ramble off because I have a lot of information that I try to limit in a small segment of these transmitters, so you guys can kind of get a filler, get a sense. I got the transmitters here that I got are new. I still haven't tested the new ones I got here. I think I bought like 3 of them, but they're really nice. They're even smaller. They're like the bigger ones that I got on Amazon, but they're even smaller. So I'm really curious to see how those are going to work. I wouldn't go high def. Don't get high def just yet until we finally work all the until they finally work out all the bugs. Plus, when you exceed your range of your transmitter, it will just die. You ain't got nothing. You're gonna get instant blue screen or fuzzy screen. That's no good, and you'll learn that when you progress. So, I think that's pretty much it for this. As far as the FPV gear, there's really not too much there. I can do another segment later if I do get a lot of comments or replies saying that I suck. I need to just retire and just freaking get off the air. But if I do like FPV gear, like flight controllers, that's like another level. Like, I'm trying to access or contact notify I want to be able to talk to the new guys who are out there. So flight controllers are a little bit above them. So I want to make sure you guys can just kind of get an understanding. You know what I mean? Flight controllers are a little complicated. You have to set up your remote and then map it. Return to launch, setting up your remote. It gets a little bit in depth, and it's a pain in the ass. So I think I'm going to bypass that and just kind of give you a quick rundown. But yeah, woo, damn it. It's a lot of information. You thought the parts was a long podcast, because the parts, I only skimmed on the stuff that I have here. And I didn't even tell you the most stuff that I have here. There's a lot of goddamn parts that I got. Huge freaking... There's so much stuff out there. I can probably talk for another hour about parts. It's just a lot. I just try to minimize as much as I could without boring you guys. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to give a huge shout out to the video that I selected of the week. It's an old one. It's a video of a homeboy that was ahead of his time. His name's rockyFLYR. RockyFLYR. And video shout out to him. He's flying a Z2 Zephyr, and the video is called on YouTube No Way Out FPV. And that movie, or it could be a movie, it's a freaking awesome YouTube video. It's fucking dope. Okay, this is the shit that I try to create in my videos. Like I want a good soundtrack. Even though my soundtrack, I like my sounds. I like my tunes. Some people don't like my tunes. You know who you are. But I like my tunes. I don't like, I like booty bumping, booty smacking, just good bass, good beat, rhythm that you can adapt to it. And this rockyFLYR here fucking killed it on YouTube with his Zephyr 2 by Right Wing and just made an awesome video. So I hope you guys can inspire, be aspired. I think that's it. Aspired. Fuck, I fucked that up. You know what I mean? I hope you guys can watch the video and kind of, shoot for those goals, or watch my videos, because I try to do my own thing and try to, balance with different music and the locations that I hit. I try to do the same thing. So big shout out to Rocky. I'll put his video link in the description below so you guys can check it out. And hopefully you guys enjoy it and find some more videos. And yeah, man, I really hope you guys enjoy this little short episode. And for the next time, I'll try to keep you guys entertained, or just kick some more knowledge. Hopefully I can kick some more knowledge. I'm gonna do my best, goddammit. But anyways, with that, I'm gonna say farewell, and I hope to see some kick-ass videos out there of you guys flying your asses off, dive bombing shit, just having a good ass damn barrel of funs. Does that make sense? Fuck it. I'm out. Later, guys.